Shalom. Koholo Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rahakwadash. Yahweh will be the true name of the Heavenly Father. Bahashem means in the name. Yahweh Shai will be the true name of the Son of the Heavenly Father, who the world knows Jesus Christ. But his true name is Yahweh Shai. Double honors to our teachers, the apostles, and the other bishops of Great Millstone. Peace, love, and salutations to the Lord's elect, teaching in truth, sincerity, and diligence for the sake of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying and straight to the point. Yeah, saved by miracles, man. You see, and when you consider the times that we headed towards, which the Lord speak of these times being like times like no other, and you pretty much, you're going to find yourself in situations where it look like you can't get out of except to be the Lord that intervene for you. And ultimately being believers hearing this truth. We believe that we're going to be put in certain situations in order for the Lord to work, man. You see, because if you desire to be saved, if you desire to be kept, well, you have to look to be put in the position for the Lord to come and save you, man. You see, and here at Great Millstone, we're taught not to put the Lord in a box. You see, we're pretty much taught and grown to have a broad perspective when it comes to Yahweh by Shemyawa Shai, and there's pretty much nothing that the Lord can't do, whether it's, manifesting food out of thin air, in which is many accounts, of the men of the Lord and even Israel being saved by miracles, man. You see? But in all, it's according to your faith. Real quick. This is Matthew chapter 9 and verse 29. It says, then he touched their eyes, saying, according to your faith, be it unto you. And their eyes were open, and Yahweh straightly charged them, saying, see that no man knoweth this, you see? In which, as a matter of fact, let me see. Let me start at verse 27. It says, and Yahweh departed thence. 2 blind men followed him, crying and saying, thou son of David, have mercy on us. And when he was come into the house, the blind men came to him. And Yahweh said unto them, believe ye that I am able to do this? They said unto him, yeah, Lord. You see, and that's the spirit that we're in, man. We believe that there's nothing that the Lord can't do, whether it's us in a famine and we haven't eaten in a minute, but yet we throwing prayers up to Yahweh by Shemyawa Shai because our belief is that the Lord can make food out of nothing, man. You see? And the Lord can actually do that because he caused manna to fall from heaven. He caused Moses to hit a rock and water came from the rock. So how much more for in these times, where danger is pretty much the theme of these times, famines, wars, pestilence, evils, anarchy, blackouts, where we're going to need the protection of Yahweh by Shemyawa Shai and ultimately his divine intervention. You see? So just like these 2 blind men, we'll be planting a lot of these 2 blind men believing in the miracles of the Lord. Continuing on, it says, then touched he their eyes, saying, according to your faith, be it unto you, you see? So if they believe that a man can pretty much touch their eyes and give them sight, which is a thing that's not the norm in this realm, how much more for these times us carrying out that same faith? When we get in dire situations, you might be apprehended. You see, just like Peter, you might be thrown in prison. You may be thrown in a fucking den like Daniel. You see, you might go days without eating like Daniel. But yet Yahweh by Shemyawa Shai always made a way for salvation to come to his servants, man. You see, and this is the faith that we carrying out. And ultimately, these are the things that we believe in, man. Yeah, again, it says, then touch he their eyes, saying, according to your faith, be it unto you. So ultimately, you can't put the Lord in a box because the things that you ask for in faith, hey, the Lord will do it, man. Real quick, this is the book of John, chapter 14 and verse 13. It says, matter of fact, verse 12, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. And whatsoever ye shall ask in my name, that will I do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. And this the point. If you should ask anything in my name, I will do it, man. You see? Asking in faith because it's according to your faith, man. So it's pretty much nothing that you can't ask for that the Lord won't do according to your faith, man. But yet, you have to believe. You see, it says, he that believeth on me. So you actually have to believe in the power of Yahweh Shema Shah. And you actually have to be 100% persuaded that the Lord can materialize food out of thin air. You actually have to be persuaded that the Lord, in the midst of a blackout, he can still have your house with, power, man. Running AC, running water. You know, you might have to board the windows up to keep the lights from going to the outside, from drawing attention. You know, the Lord give you wisdom to accommodate the miracles, man. You know, he give you wisdom to accommodate the blessing. You see? But yet, Yahweh Shema Shah is going to be doing these things, especially here in these times. If he did it back then, well, it's written. Romans 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things was written aforetime, and we're going to read the accounts of certain miracles that took place aforetime. It says were written for our learning, that we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope. So if I find myself or any other Akim, the Akwath, you find yourself detained because you was out here believing in the Lord, well, you have an account with Peter. The Lord sent forth an angel to get Peter up out of that situation. You may be thrown in a den with fucking spiders or snakes, wild beasts. Well, you have the account with Daniel. He was thrown in a den with hungry lions. And he haven't eaten for 6 days, but yet the Lord fed him, man. And he closed the mouth of the lions. So much so in Daniel the 6th chapter, when the king ran to the den, he yelled out, Daniel, Daniel. He said, here I am, king. And that was the miracles of Yahweh Shema Shah playing out to ultimately preserve his service, man. Ultimately, he was saved by a miracle, man. But yet we looking for these same accounts to take place here in this realm, in our life, in our walk. You see? And if you believe, they're going to come true. Real quick, just to go into the account. This is Acts 12 going into Peter being apprehended, man. In which the Lord tell you real quick, Salaki, I'm bouncing around. Matthew, the 24th chapter, and verse, let's see. Because it says something about they should deliver you into prison, and this is just part of, this walk, man. I believe it's somewhere in here. So like it, just bear with me real quick. It's probably somewhere around here, but just quote it. The Lord said that he's gonna that they're gonna deliver some of us up into prison, man. Just to read this one right here. This is Matthew 24 and verse 9. It says, then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended and betray one another, and shall hate one another. You see? So they're going to deliver us up. Some of us is going to be getting delivered up to bounty hunters, delivered up to the so-called white man, Esau Edom. You're going to be getting betrayed by family members. But yet these things ultimately set to take place just for a miracle to unfold in your life, man. You see, so some of us might get apprehended and thrown in jail, man, because that's actually a theme that's taking place where they want to arrest street teachers, man. You see, but just going into the account, Acts 12 and verse 1, it says, now after the time Herod the king stretched forth his hand to vex certain of the church, and he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. You see, they should destroy some of us, as we just read in Matthew the 24th chapter. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread, you see, in which, the officer Dawah from the Birmingham account, he made the point how things often happen around, high holy days, man. You see, so ultimately just keeping that in mind. It says, and when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter, which is the Passover, to bring him forth to the people. It says Peter therefore was kept in prison, but prayers was made without ceasing of the church of Yahweh Shah for him. And when Herod would have brought him forth the same night, Peter was sleeping between two soldiers, both with chains, both bound. He was sleeping between two soldiers bound with two chains, and keepers, and the keepers before the door kept the prison. And behold, the angel of the Lord came upon him, and a light shined in the prison, and he smote Peter on the side and raised him up, saying, arise up quickly. And his chains fell off from his hands. You see, so an angel came to Peter, tapped him on the side, probably roughed him up. He said, hey, yo, get up. And Peter stood up and the chains immediately fell off. You just got to imagine that in your mind. It says, and the angel said unto him, gird thyself and bind thy sandals. Yeah, put your clothes on, put your shoes on. And he so did. And he said unto him, cast thy garment about thee and follow me. Yeah, put your shit on, come on. And he went out and followed him and wist not that it was true, which was done by the angel. You see, so all this is happening and Peter like, what the fuck? He don't even think it's true, man. And this is how certain things are going to be playing out, especially here in our little realm, you see, because we're not used to actually seeing things take place. Very heavy spiritual things take place like this. You see? But yet the faith that we pretty much hold, we can look for these crazy things to take place, for divine intervention. And really, you want to be in the right spirit. You want to be expecting it, man. Anticipating it. Heavily praying without ceasing for these things to take place. You see? But yet when it was happening to Peter, he didn't even believe that this was a true thing taking place, man. But it go on to say, it says, but thought he saw a vision. Yeah, so the things was happening in real time, but yet Peter thinking he dreaming, man. He thought it was a vision. It says, when they were past the first and the second ward, they came unto the iron gate that led into the city, which opened to them of his own accord, and they went out and passed on through one street, and forthwith the angel departed from him. You see, so when Peter was fully free, the angel did his job. The Lord sent forth the angel to go free Peter. The angel came and freed Peter, and he departed, man. You see? And these are miracles that's going to be taking place for us in these times, man. You see, it says, and when Peter was come to himself, he said, when he had to sit down and take a time to relax and collect his thoughts, he came to himself and said, now I know for surety that the Lord had sent his angel and had delivered me out of the hand of Herod. Yeah, some of us might get delivered out of the hands of Trump, the Trump administration, the governor of Chicago, the governor of Birmingham, the governor of Atlanta, whoever may have you in apprehension, man, these higher ups. Yeah, you going to escape their hands though, man. You see, it ain't nothing that the Lord can't do for his men. And these things are going to be happening, man. It says, and when Peter was come to himself, he said, now I know for surety that the Lord has sent his angel and hath delivered me out of the hands of Herod and for all the expectations of the people of the Jews, you see? And when he had considered the thing, he came, matter of fact, we're just going to stop right there, but you see how the Lord sent forth an angel to ultimately free Peter from prison, man. And here it is in these times where they're in El Salvador, building maximum security prisons to take immigrants and even certain of you Americans. You patriotics, you true speakers, you conspiracy theorists. They're going to send all of you over there, man. But yet the men of the Lord is the ones who's going to have the protection. Yeah, they talking about, reinvent on Alcatraz, trying to bring that back. You see? So it makes sense for the Lord to have an account like this take place, because it's certain men that actually might find themselves in those positions, man. You see? But even going into the next, because the Lord, he also warned about a famine. And it's a You may find yourself in a famine where you haven't eaten for 6 days. Well, Daniel was in the lions den and haven't eaten for 6 days, and the Lord had transported Habakkuk to him to feed him, man. You know? So how much more in these times you might be in your house, you haven't eaten for a week. The brother, he in a whole different state. You know, he in California or some shit. He came across a stash, and the Lord sent him a dream. Hey, man, go to Birmingham, go to 5th Street Avenue West, and go feed the op. He like, man, I never seen Alabama, nor do I know where Birmingham 5th Street at. And the Lord take him and teleport him to you. And let's read the account, man. This Bell of the Dragon, 1 in verse 29. So that came to the king and said, deliver us, Daniel, or else we will deliver thee and thy house. Now, when the king saw that they pressed him sore, being constrained, he delivered Daniel unto them, who cast him into the lion's den, where he was 6 days. You see, and in the den there were 7 lions, and they had given them every day 2 carcasses and 2 sheep, which then were not given to them, to the intent they may devour Daniel. You see, so they put Daniel in a den with hungry lions, man. They stopped feeding them and they threw Daniel in there, hoping that the lions would devour him, man. It says, now there was in the jury a prophet called Habakkuk, who had made pottage and had broken bread in a bowl and was going into the field for to bring it to the reapers. But the angel of the Lord said unto Habakkuk, go carry the dinner that thou hast unto Babylon, unto Daniel, who's in the lion's den. And Habakkuk said, Lord, I never saw Babylon, neither do I know what Babylon, neither do I know where the den is. Then the angel of the Lord took him by the crown and bare him by the hair of his head and brought the vehemency of his spirit, set him in Babylon over the den. You see, so the Lord teleported him, grabbed him by his head, the hairs on his head, and brought his spirit to Babylon and set him completely over the den. And Habakkuk cried, saying, oh, Daniel, take the dinner which Yahweh Shai has sent thee. And Daniel said, thou hast remembered me, O Yahweh Shai, neither hast thou forsaken them that seek thee and love thee. So Daniel arose and did eat, and the angel of the Lord sent Habakkuk in his own place again immediately. Man, you can't say what the Lord won't do. And these are accounts that actually took place, man. The Lord teleported Habakkuk to Babylon over the lion's den where Daniel was, fed him, and took him right back to his place, man. Immediately. In the blink of an eye, snap of a finger, he dead, he gone, man. But yet, guess what? The Lord said that the things that was written aforetime was written for our learning, so that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures may have hope. Because we may find ourselves in the same position. But the Lord said in Ecclesiasticus, Sirach 2 and 10, to look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Or did any ever slack you? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called on him, man? Yahweh is going to do these things. It says, for the Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long-suffering and very pitiful, and forgiveth sin and saveth in time of affliction, man. And we coming into the time of affliction where the Lord is going to be dispersing those angels to encamp around about those that fear him, to do what? Deliver them, man. You see, the Lord is going to be delivering us from dire situations. And this is what's going to put us in that heavy spirit of rejoicing. Isaiah 65, tell you how the people is going to cry for sorrow of heart, but you shall rejoice for gladness of heart, man. And it's ultimately because the Lord remembered us, man. You know, and Lord, will I play a part of that precious number? You know, Lord, wouldn't the Lord remember me and the Akim, man? You see? But yeah, Akim, you know, hey, saved by miracles. You know, just 2 accounts of 2 men who were serving and fearing the Lord, was in dire situations, but ultimately got saved by a miracle, man. So yeah, I can, I pray that you was edified, giving all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Hakwadash. Lord willing, to this video. Shalom.